Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing to my channel. And while you're at it, smash that like button for me. I really would appreciate it. Also, hit that post notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. Be careful down in the comment section of the videos. A lot of spam, a lot of scammers. I will never ask you to contact me by WhatsApp or Telegram. I also do not invest money for my subscribers, so please be careful. Don't get yourself scammed. If you want to follow me, guys, when I'm not on YouTube, do me a big favor. Get down to the description box, click on that Richard Fain Millionaire Mentor Instagram link, give me a follow, and then send me a DM to let me know you're rocking with me. And then obviously I will say thank you. You guys know this is my new Instagram page, Richard Fain Millionaire Mentor. My old Instagram page was Richard Fain 28. That Instagram page had over 90,000 followers, but it was disabled late last year, well, December of last year. So I had to create this new one, and it's going pretty good. We got about 5,000 folks already following on the Instagram page, and I'd like to get that up to, I don't know, 75, 8,000 by the end of July. So if any of you guys, you do the Instagram thing, get down in the description box, click on my Instagram link, Richard Fain Millionaire Mentor, and give me a follow, and then let me know that you're rocking with me. I certainly would appreciate that. Well, guys, we got a lot to cover. This is not a political channel. Y'all know that. I'm about building wealth, and that's what this channel is about, is helping people get to their pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But let's face it, inflation is a big part of our whole financial system, our economy, right? It's a part of, assets, right? Because when inflation is high, asset values typically go low, right? Because people are busy paying for the necessary things they need to live. And when they go up by 9%, most people's focus is not on buying stocks or real estate for income. Most people's focus is on, hey, how do I put food on the table? How do I keep a roof over my head? How do I keep gas in the car, right? The basic necessities start to come into play more focused than, oh, shoot, I got an extra $1,000. Let me go buy some stocks. People don't normally think about that when inflation is high. So I thought it would be a good idea to do a little bit of research and find out, of our two presidential candidates, under which administration really caused this inflation, this 40-year, largest increase in 40 years inflation. Who actually caused it? Now, this is why this came on my radar, because when I was watching the presidential debate a few days ago, they were kind of placing the blame on each other. One guy would say, no, your administration did it. The other guy would say, no, your administration did it. So I said, something? Let me go do a little bit of research and find out what the numbers say. Let's go find out what the numbers actually say. And I did that. And the numbers are pretty obvious what happened, right? But before we do that, do me a big favor, get down to the description box, click on my website link, www.richardfain.net. Website's been up about 2.5 months, doing really well. Over 200,000 of you guys have already checked out the website, so thank you very much. And again, this channel is about helping you get to your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, get to financial freedom. So the website is designed around helping you get to financial freedom. Do me a big favor, like I said, get down to the description box, click on the website link, www.richardfain.net. While you're there, check out the fantastic financial digital products we have available for you to help provide you with information that could assist you in getting to your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Do me that big favor. Do yourself that big favor. Get yourself over to the website, check it out, grab some of those digital products, and help yourself along the way, down the road to getting to your financial freedom. We got everything from credit repair, credit restoration, improve your credit score in a digital product, all the way to investing in real estate with little to no money down. We also got a really good one for starting an online business. You guys know side hustles are really, really important if we're going to build wealth. We can't just rely on our primary income. We got to always have some secondary income. And starting an online business for a lot of you folks is a really, really, really time efficient way to be able to make extra money above and beyond your primary income. That's extremely important if we want to build wealth. Our number one tool to build wealth is income. So starting an online business might be your opportunity to be able to create some additional income. We also have digital products around how to get your mental right? If you got a bad behavior with money, guys, you got to learn how to change that and develop a good behavior with money. And that's where the Millionaire Mentor ebook that we have on the website will help you with that. It'll give you step-by-step things that you can do every single day to change your mindset. Because if you got a bad behavior with money, you don't build wealth. What you do is you spend money to build wealth for someone else. So you got to change that. And that Millionaire Mindset ebook will help you do that. So check that one out as well. Maybe some of you guys are brand new and you're just starting to invest in the stock market and you'd really like to learn a little bit more about it. We got an ebook for that on the website as well that can kind of walk you through the basic steps of the stock market and what it is. Right? So my point is, get to the website, go check it out, and grab yourself some of those digital products. While you're there, if you want to be a part of a private mentorship group, I call it the Richard Fain Millionaire Mentor group or club. If you want to be a part of that, you got to join through the website. We got about 700, matter of fact, we're over 700 now. We got about 705 members now. So it's continuing to grow. We've gotten that growth in about 2 months, 2.5 months. So we're going to continue to grow this community. If you want to be a part of that, that's the only place on the internet where I'm doing mentoring is through that private mentorship club. So if you want to be a part of it, get over to the website and join and get yourself immersed in a community of people who are headed in the same direction you are, which is financial freedom. Last thing before we dive into this discussion on inflation is Moomoo brokerage account. First link down in the description box. For those of you who've been following me, I've been using the Moomoo brokerage app for about 6 months, since January, and I've been buying paper assets, NVIDIA, Magnificent 7, those type of paper assets through my Moomoo brokerage app, right? Set up my account, got me some free stocks, and guess what? They're gonna give you the same offer. If you go down to the description box, you will see a link for the Moomoo brokerage account. Click on that link. If you put $100 in your new brokerage account, they will give you 5 free stocks. If you put $1,000 in your brokerage account, they're gonna give you 15 free stocks. So before you even take any money and invest in anything, you already have free stocks. 5 or 15, depending upon how much money you put in your new brokerage account. Now, once you put the money in there, now you're ready to be able to buy paper assets to build your wealth, right? That's where this inflation thing comes in. And we're gonna talk about that, right? How inflation can either prohibit or enhance our wealth. We're going to talk about that, and which one of these presidential candidates give us the best chance to do that. So get down in the description box, click on the Moomoo link, open up that new Moomoo account today, go get the free stock, go get the free money, and then be ready to do what? Lock and load and be ready to buy some paper assets. Now, for you folks that are not familiar with self-directed brokerage apps, What I can do for you, if you send me an email through my website, www.richardfain.net, what I can do for you is I can send you some tutorial videos that will show you how to use the Moomoo brokerage app. The good folks at Moomoo have put those tutorials together so they're easy to understand. They'll walk you through fractional share trading, automatic trading, and they'll walk you through automatic reinvestment of dividends. Those 3 features they'll walk you through. But you got to send me an email through my website and let me know you've opened the Moomoo brokerage account, you funded it, and then I'm going to send you that information. And I'll also send you some additional information, a couple videos I did walking you through all the investments that I'm buying in 2024 and beyond and why I'm buying them. Be helpful for you guys, especially for you brand new folks who are just getting started at this, right? So I appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Get down in the description box, click on the Moomoo link, get that free stock, get that free money, and then also check out my new website, www.richardfain.net. Well, all right, guys, let's dive on into this information that we're going to run through this morning in the live stream and then obviously in the video format as well. So I'm watching on Thursday the presidential debate. And of course, you got the current president, which is President Biden. And then you have former President Donald Trump. Both of these gentlemen are trying to tell the American people why they should be the next president for the next 4 years. Now, one of the questions that came up was inflation. And in essence, who really caused inflation? Which administration? Of course, not one person can cause inflation, but we're talking about the administration who was in charge, who was running the country, right? Who really started this inflation thing that really spiraled down assets, made prices of our goods and services go up, and just basically made it a little bit harder for Americans and people living in America to buy the basic things they need to live? That's an important question when you're running for the president of the United States. People want to know, you get in this seat, what will our financial life be like, right? So that was the question, right? And here's the information that I tracked down, and it's a article from Market Watch. So it's not me coming up with a conclusion. I went out and did research that I could share with you guys to give you the answer to this question, because it really boils down to numbers, right? It's not an opinion, it's the facts. When you look at the financial facts, it kind of spells out what happened, why inflation went up as high as it did. It's the highest it's been in 40 years. What caused that, right? So let's take a look at the headline here. Trump and Biden play blame game on inflation. Here's what prices did under their watch. And when they say prices, they're talking about inflation. Here's what inflation did under Trump's administration and currently under Biden's administration. And let's get down to the bottom of who really caused inflation, right? That's important for us, guys, if we're going to build wealth. The higher inflation is, the lower assets will go. The lower inflation is, typically the higher assets will go. Why is that? Because the way the Federal Reserve controls inflation is through interest rates. The higher interest rates are, they are trying to bring inflation down. But when interest rates are too high, guys, people don't buy assets. And when there is not a demand for assets, they go down in value. When there is a demand for assets, they go up in value. So if we're people out here trying to build wealth and we're using these assets to build our wealth, if inflation is sky high, We know what follows inflation when it's sky high. Interest rates go sky high because that's what the Federal Reserve uses as one of their tools to bring inflation down, right? So it's important what inflation is doing when we're out here trying to build wealth, is my point. So that's the whole point of the conversation, is why is inflation important? Why? Because it will affect our assets, the value of our assets, right? So here we go. Like I said, this is a Market Watch article provided by the Dow Jones, right? And it's dated June 29, 2024. So it's, boom, it's today, right? So understand, this is not me getting political or trying to get political. What I'm trying to get you to understand is, as an American, as a person living in America, and you're trying to chase down your financial freedom, you better understand who you're voting for. You better understand how their policies will affect your wealth. That's all I'm saying. You pick whoever you want to pick. I could care less. I'm just telling you, if you're trying to build wealth, you better understand both of these candidates and what they believe and gonna bring to the table when it comes to building your wealth or assisting you to build your wealth. Massive government stimulus contributed to the surge in prices, AKA inflation. So the massive stimulus contributed to inflation going up to a 40-year high. That's number one. The biggest surge in inflation in 40 years could end up deciding the 2024 presidential election. And President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump each sought to outflank each other on the topic on Thursday's debate. I watched the whole debate, and that's exactly what happened, right? He has not done a good job. He has done a poor job. And inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us, Trump said. Biden countered with a claim that there was no inflation when he took office. He also charged that Trump's pandemic-related policies helped cause prices to soar. So as you can see, if you watch the debate, you'll know they were back and forth on that, right? And that's not, I mean, that's obvious that no one want to take blame for inflation, right? That's just a bad thing to have to take the blame for. Nobody wants to take the blame for that, right? So here we go. Before the pandemic, inflation had been unusually low. Prices rose an average of 1.7% a year from the end of the 2007 to 2009 recession and until 2019. So prior to the pandemic, guess what? Inflation was about 1.7%, under 2%. Plugging right along, we know at that point, certainly things were better, prices were stable, we had price stability in our economy, assets were growing, right? Everything was just plugging right along prior to the pandemic. Cumulative prices rose 5.4% during President Barack Obama's second term, which ran from January 2013 to January 2017. So during President Obama's administration, prices rose to about 5.4%. They're saying that's sort of what it averaged out over. Inflation increased by a combined 7.3% during Trump's 4 years in office, the CPI showed. So that's the Consumer Price Index when they say CPI. So we know, according to the numbers, during President Obama's tenure, right? From 2013 to 2017, that was President Barack Obama, 5.4%. That was the average for inflation. Okay, inflation increased by a combined 7.3% during Trump's 4 years in office. Those are the numbers. In Biden's 3.5 years in office, inflation has risen by a combined 19.4%, including an 8% annual increase in 2022. Now you got to understand, right? The pandemic, that was part of that, correct? And in 2022, we know what happened, right? Inflation went up to 9.1% in June of 2022. And that's when the Federal Reserve, in March of 2022, the Federal Reserve started increasing short-term interest rates to stop inflation. So that's where you get that 8% annual increase in 2022. So in Biden's 3.5 years, 8% of that combined 19.4, it happened in 1 year. So what's to blame for high inflation? Economists cite a number of factors. This is important, guys. So who's the blame? What is the blame? What is the blame for inflation? An economist cite a number of factors. Here we go. Massive government spending, first by Trump and then by Biden, to cope with economic fallout from the pandemic. So both of them, right? Initially from Trump and then backed up by Biden. So let's read on and figure this out. Let's read on and figure it out. The Federal Reserve's March 2020 decision to slash a key short-term interest rate, that's your Fed funds rate, guys. So in March of 2020, the Fed decided to slash the Fed funds rate. Why would they do that? In order to stimulate the economy. See, they bring interest rates down to zero to actually stimulate the economy so people can go out and borrow money for basically nothing. And they take that money they borrow and they buy things with it. That's why they bring the interest rates down to zero to incentivize people to borrow money, businesses to borrow money, to keep things going. That's why they do it, right? So that was the first thing that started this whole concept of inflation going up to a 40-year high, is when the Fed took interest rates basically to zero, right? So the Federal Reserve's March decision, 2020 decision to slash a key short-term interest rate to zero and to buy trillions of dollars in treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. So what does that mean? What does that mean? So what the Federal Reserve does is they cut interest rates to zero so people can borrow money cheaply. And then what do? They buy trillions of dollars worth of what? Treasury bonds, and mortgage-backed securities. So in essence, they are funding the economy. They are putting money into the economy, right? But where do they get this money from? They just create it. They just print money. They just create it. They just create money, right? And then they buy all these treasury bonds. And who are they buying the treasury bonds from? The government. They're buying the treasury bonds for the government. They're lending them. It's like a loan to the government, but they do it through treasury bonds. So they cut the interest rate to zero so that people like you and me and businesses can go to banks and get money for very cheap, very, very cheap. And then we take that money and do what? We pump it back into the economy through buying stuff. Furthermore, Federal Reserve says, okay, we got to continue to pump trillions of dollars into this economy so it didn't go to zero. We got to keep this economy moving. So they go and buy trillions of dollars in treasury bonds from the government, mortgage-backed securities, right? All they're doing is adding money to what? The economy. So that's what happened. That's the first step that drives up inflation, right? When you put a oversupply of money in an economy, what do? What do, guys? You basically run up demand for stuff. The more money people have, the more they will spend. Problem is, if your supply can't keep up with that demand, what does it do? It runs up prices. That's inflation, right? So yes, Treasury, the Federal Reserve was a part of that. The Federal Reserve's March 2020 decision to slash the key short-term interest rate, bring it to zero, Fed funds rate to zero, pump trillions of dollars worth of money into the economy through buying Treasury bonds and mortgage-backed securities. These moves drove down interest rates and poured money into the economy. I just told you that. That's what happens. So that's the first step, right? That is the first step towards inflation starting this run that it took. The first step was they cut interest rates to zero and they pumped money into the economy through Treasury bond purchases and mortgage-backed security purchases. Why did they do that, guys? Because they had to. They had no choice, guys. You got to understand we was in the middle of a pandemic, the beginning stages of a pandemic. Everybody was freaking out. They shut the whole country down. How was people going to take care of themselves? How was the economy going to survive unless they did that? It wouldn't have survived. We're the greatest country in the world. If we don't survive, there are a lot of countries in our world that don't survive. They depend on us to survive. We got the biggest economy, right? So let's keep moving. These moves drove down interest rate and poured money into the economy. The Fed then kept rates too low for too long. See, hindsight is 20/20, guys. But when you're in the middle of that pandemic, all you can think about is how I'm gonna feed my family, how I'm gonna keep this roof over my head. You can't work, so you got to get some money from somewhere. So guess what? You got to go to unemployment. You got to go to stimulus checks. You got to go whatever you can do to put money in your pocket to feed your family. So hindsight's 20/20. Oh, the Fed kept rates too low, too long. Yeah, that's all Monday morning quarterback stuff right there. But see, on Sunday, when that quarterback in the game doing this thing and everything's a split second, you make decisions. It's easy for me, Richard Fain, sitting on his cushy couch being a Monday morning quarterback. It's easy to do that. But when you're in the midst of something and you're trying to save an economy, you do what you got to do. So I ain't mad at the Federal Reserve. I ain't mad at them at all. If I had to say, do it again, if you got to. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I ain't mad at them. I ain't mad at them. The Fed then kept rates too low for too long. Critics say stimulus policies carried out by other countries to shore up their own economies. Huge bottlenecks in the global trading system. That's the supply versus demand. They call that the supply chain. The supply chain suffered. It could not keep up with demand. It was broken. It was broken. Prices go up, right? Prices go up. So the Fed then kept rates too low for too long. Critics say, that's what the critics say. Critics say they kept it for too low for too long. I say they did what they needed to do to help us survive. I'm okay with it. If I got to pay a little bit more taxes, fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm glad they did what they did, so they saved our country and they saved the average American. The 1% didn't have no problems, but the average American was hurting. They needed something. Because the average American don't got no assets. 150 million Americans don't even have any retirement savings. So what do you think those people were going to do? If they didn't pump money into the economy, if they didn't take interest rates to zero, what were 150 million people going to do that don't even have retirement savings? What is 50% of Americans going to do that don't even have $1,000 in savings for a financial hiccup? What were those people going to do? See, we always love being the Monday morning quarterback. But what in the world, when you're in the midst of a crisis, what are those people going to do? How are they going to feed their families? Monday morning quarterbacks, though. So let's go. Let's keep moving here. Stimulus policies carried out by other countries to shore up their own economies. Huge bottlenecks in the global trading system that limited the flow of key supplies during the pandemic. Most notable, a shortage of computer chips hobbled the production of new cars and drove the price of cars and trucks to record highs. You guys know new cars, possibly impossible to get. Didn't have the chips for them. So what happened to used cars? They went up by 40, 50%. Couldn't get a new car because you couldn't get chips. So the used cars went to the moon in price. And guess what? People paid it. Yeah, people paid it. Had no other choice. Had to. Right? Had to. If you got to get to work, you need a dependable car to get there. So can't get there, can't use the Flintstones method where you get your little, use your feet in your car like the Flintstones. Can't do that. Needed a real car. Right? How much blame goes to government spending? That's an important question, right? How much of this goes to irresponsible government spending? That's an important question, right? Right? And that's where it comes into play. The part that Trump and Biden could control. Whether you like it or not, guys, both of these gentlemen were wrapped up in this pandemic thing. Trump at the beginning and then Biden at the end, basically. Both of them were wrapped up in it. So we can't sit here and just, blame one without blaming the other. They both were wrapped up in it because Trump was the president when the thing started, and then Biden came in. So both of them are wrapped up in this thing. And I know, oh, golly, no, my guy would never do that. My guy is perfect. He's perfect. Whoever my guy is, he's perfect. You know how we want to pick sides. Oh, he's perfect. My guy is perfect. He did nothing wrong through nothing. You know how we get, right? Y'all know I'm telling the truth. I know some of y'all ain't gonna like it, but you know I'm telling the truth. My guy is perfect. He didn't have anything to do with that. He was perfect through the whole pandemic. Right. Okay, let's keep moving. How much blame goes to government spending? The part that Trump and Biden could control. Now, here are the facts. Here's the facts, not my facts, the real facts from the numbers. Economists say it's impossible to know for sure. Given the variety of factors involved, they also note the economy could have suffered far greater damage without any stimulus at all. Hello, I just tried to tell y'all that. If the Fed, let me tell you something, if the Fed wouldn't have pumped that money into the economy, and if they wouldn't have taken them interest rates to zeros, guys, trust me, things would be in catastrophic situation right now. We would not be experiencing what we're experiencing in assets, the salary raises. None of that would be happening right now had they not pumped that money into the economy. They had to. They had to. It would have been catastrophic right now had they not done that. So was I for them pumping money in the economy? Absolutely. And I would be for it again if it saves America and its people. Yes, I'm for it. And if I got to bear the brunt of it and pay more taxes, so be it. That's the reason you build assets and get to wealth, so you ain't got to worry about all that, right? Save our country. If I got to pay a little more in taxes, I don't care about that. Who cares? I enjoy the lifestyle that this country affords me to enjoy. I want to save and preserve that for my children. You may feel different, but that's okay. We just will disagree on that one respectfully. So let's keep moving. Economists say it's impossible to know for sure, given the variety of factors involved. They're They also note the economy could have suffered far greater damage without any stimulus at all, which could have been more costly in the long run. Absolutely, I agree 100%. The most fateful decision by Biden was the 1.9 trillion stimulus package of March 2021, which included $1,400 checks for most Americans. The bill was passed 2 months after he took office. Okay? That's important, because here's what they're basically saying. Maybe he didn't have to do that one. Maybe we had done enough by that point. Once again, Monday morning quarterbacking, this guy just getting into office, country still trying to recover, still trying to reopen. He's trying to do something to assist that, but we're Monday morning quarterbacking him right now. That's what it is. It's Monday morning quarterbacking, right? After the fact, we got all the answers. After the fact, we would have done it this way. Boy, I tell you, we something else. We are something else, aren't we? The plan was put into place even though the economy was already undergoing strong recovery. But see, here's the problem, guys. When you're in the midst of that, you're just getting into office, you're in the midst of that, you don't know that. You don't know if this pandemic is going to rear its head again. You don't know. All you know is you got a supply chain that's broken. You got a lot of demand, a lot of excess going on, and you're just trying to make sure you don't do something wrong. You rather put more in than to not put it in and this thing reignite itself. And I think that's the way, and I can't speak for President Biden, but if my opinion would be, it's more, let's put more in, guys, because we really don't know what's going to happen. And if we put too much in, yep, we're going to pay the price, but we can always take it out when we increase interest rates. And I think that's what happened. He made the call. Would I have made that call? Absolutely. I'd have made the same call. I'd rather put more money in and pay the consequences slightly than not put enough in, and people can't feed their families. People can't eat. People can't do the things that I'd much rather put more in and just take it back out through interest rates at some point down the road. And that's what's been happening, right? So let's keep moving. Some economists contend it exacerbated the emerging bottleneck in global supply chain and contributed to runaway inflation. Again, Monday morning quarterbacks are basically saying the 1.9 additional stimulus in March of 21 further exacerbated inflation. We already had a bottleneck. We already had a demand and supply disconnect that just intensified it. But again, that's Monday morning quarterbacking, because at that point, nobody knew. Now we know, but at that point, nobody knew. Nobody knew, right? So some economists contend it exacerbated the emerging bottleneck in global supply chain and contributed to runaway inflation. Consumers around the world had plenty of money to spend, but businesses could not supply all the goods and services they wanted. Therefore, inflation goes up. More demand in the supply, inflation goes up. Prices go up. Most famously, Lawrence Summers, who served as Treasury Secretary under President Bill Clinton and as an economic advisor to President Barack Obama, warned in a Washington Post opinion piece in February 2021, a month before the Biden plan passed, that the new U.S. stimulus could set off inflationary pressures for a kind we have not seen in a generation. So you had this well-respected person came out on record in February before the March 21 additional stimulus and said Pump your brakes, guys. This is probably not a good idea. That's facts. That's facts. This is not a Monday morning quarterback here. This guy came out before it happened and said, look, guys, pump your brakes. We may not want to give out this additional 1,400 stimulus because you already know through Trump, we had already gave out one. But I think you got to understand it this way, guys. President Biden coming into office in 21, right? We're still not out of this whole pandemic thing yet. And he's saying to himself, goodness gracious, I don't want to be my first year in office where this thing raises its ugly head again and we're attacked by it again. I don't know where the American people are when it comes to their finances. Let's go ahead and give them another $1,400 stimulus. Let's go ahead and do another round of PPP just to make sure consumers and businesses got enough money just in case. And I think that's the way he was thinking. Now, I can't think for him. I don't know that for a fact, but I just think that's the way the administration was thinking. It was thinking like, yeah, we may be overplaying our hand, but let's err on the side of too much than err on the side of too little. Just saying, just saying. So this Lawrence Summers, who served as Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton and economic advisor to President Barack Obama, warned a month ahead of time. In February of 21, he warned, guys, be careful. If we do this, it could set off inflationary pressures of a kind we have not seen in a generation. The rate of inflation, as it turned out, jumped as high as 9.1% in mid-2022, from 1.4% at the start of Biden's presidency. Those are the numbers, guys. Can't walk that back. Those are the numbers. According to inflation data, the rate of inflation, as it turned out, jumped to as high as 9.1%. So basically, from the time Biden entered office, let's just say January 21, right? January 21, after the 2020 election, January 21, he entered office. They're saying inflation was about 1.4% at the start of his presidency. And a year and a half later, into the presidency, a year and a half later, went up to 9.1%. But again, guys, you got to understand, you can't, in my opinion at least, you think whatever you want to think. I'm not trying to think for you. But for me, the way I look at it this way. He inherited a lot. And I'm not blaming President Trump. I think President Trump did the best he could. His administration did the best they could with a pandemic. The pandemic hit him and his administration. Nobody knew what was going on. Everybody thought the world was coming to an end. So he did what he needed to do to keep our country afloat. And I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at President Trump for doing what he needed to do. I ain't mad at him. Nor am I mad at Joe Biden for doing what he felt like he needed to do. Right? I sit here today as a proud American, and both of those gentlemen. You got to decide. You have to decide. But I sit here today as a proud American because both did what they needed to do to keep our country safe. That's my opinion. I don't think anybody else, I don't care whoever you think the best president ever been in the United States, I don't think anybody else would have done anything differently. Both of them did what they felt like they needed to do to save our country, to keep our financial system going. Right? That's what I think. I think they both did what they needed to do to try to keep our financial system going. I don't fault neither one of those gentlemen for inflation. I don't. I don't fault President Trump, and I don't fault President Biden. I think both of those guys and their administrations did what they felt like was in the best interest of America. And guess what, guys? It worked out because we're still here and we're thriving. I've built a lot of wealth since 2020, a lot of it. And I know a lot of you've built a lot of wealth since 2020. So I ain't mad at either one of these gentlemen, right? I'm not. I think they did what they needed to do. It's real easy to be a Monday morning quarterback. Real easy. Put yourself in their shoes. You got 350 million people in this country. The #1 economy in the world. Everybody depends on us. Everybody depends on our financial system. The dollar is the world's reserve currency. If the dollar's no good, the global economy is crashing. So what do? Can you be perfect? No. You follow your gut and you do what you feel like is necessary to save our country. And that's what these two gentlemen did. They did exactly what they needed to do to save our country. And I'm happy they did. I'm happy they did. Like I said, if I got to pay a few more dollars in taxes, so be it. So be it. If you don't want to pay no taxes, guess what? Pack your bags. Pack your bags, put yourself on a plane, put yourself on a boat, and find another country. That's all you got to do. I just cannot understand why people would stay in a country that they're not happy with. I just don't get it, man. That one to me blows my mind. Hate the country, hate everything about it, but yet and still won't leave. I don't get it. I don't get it. Just me, guys. Because if I didn't want to be here, I would just simply pack my bags, get me a passport, and I would leave. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. So here we go. The rate of inflation, as it turned out, jumped to as high as 9.1% in mid-2022 and 1.4% at the start of Biden. It was 1.4% at the start of Biden's presidency. Consumer price inflation has since slowed to 3.3, but it's still almost double the pre-pandemic average. So here's the thing, guys. President Trump did the best he could. He issued a stimulus check. The Federal Reserve, yes, they pumped free money into the economy. They lowered interest rates. And why did we do that? Because we needed to save our financial system. What was the alternative? Let's just play devil's advocate. What was the alternative? We do nothing. We don't pump money into the economy. We shut down the country, don't pump any money in, and people starve. And chaos breaks out. Riots break out because people can't feed their family. What do? We don't pump free money into the economy. We don't lower interest rates to zero. We just say tough. Just the rich are going to be okay. All these 99 percenters down here, fend for yourself. Guys, you don't want a country like that. You don't want that. You don't want chaos in the streets. You don't want people's backs against the wall where they can't feed their family and they got to go do what they got to do. You do not want that in this country. You don't want that. Please understand, you do not want that. Look around the world. You don't want that in this country. So a little bit of free money, a little bit of inflation, I'm okay with that to keep us from being barbaric, because that's what it will drive you to. It will drive you to savage-like behavior. So I'm okay with them pumping money in. I'm okay with inflation going up. I'm okay with me paying more taxes. I'm okay with that. To keep us in a civilized, peaceful world, I'm okay with that. So thank you, President Biden. Thank you, President Trump, for keeping our country safe. Keep us out of financial disaster. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, whichever one of y'all win, that's on y'all. I ain't got nothing to do with that, right? But one thing I do know, no matter which one of those gentlemen win, I believe deep down inside, they want to see our country win. And they want to see us maintain as the top financial and economy in the world, where we have the most prosperity in the world, and we're the #1 destination spot in the world. America. Why is that? Why is that? Because anybody can come to this country from anywhere in the world. They can come to this country and they have an opportunity to do what? Get to freedom. Get to financial freedom. Anybody. I don't care what color you are. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. I don't care what you identify as. You can come to this country and become anything you want financially. That's what I believe. So I'm not going to get involved in all the back and forth or what happened in the debate. My goal here today was to walk you through the numbers, to walk you through inflation, how inflation got where it got. And guess what, guys? Say whatever you want to say about President Biden. Guess what? Inflation is down. It's down to 3.3. PCE is down under 3, and we're back on track. Assets are getting ready to go to the moon because rates are going to come down soon, and they're going to go to the moon. And guess what? Everybody that's participating, executing, buying assets today, they will be worth more tomorrow, in my opinion. Not your financial advisor, not trying to tell you what to do, but just giving you my opinion. Just giving you my opinion, my humble opinion. All I can tell you right now, guys, this is the greatest opportunity in American history to build wealth, especially for us 99%ers who don't have no wealth. And obviously, a lot of us don't. 150 million adult Americans don't have any retirement savings, guys. That's not normal. And that wasn't caused by President Trump. That wasn't caused by President Biden. That was caused by you. These folks ain't got nothing to do with that. See, that's our problem a lot of times in this country. We always want to look for somebody else to blame but us, when the blame really is us. In a lot of cases, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, we're to blame. But we always want to look for somebody else to blame. We don't never want to take ownership of our own decisions. Take ownership. This is a great opportunity for you to get down in the description box, open the brokerage account, Moomoo brokerage account, put you some money in it. Get these, watch my channel so that you understand what's going on and then execute. Great opportunity for you to do that. Great opportunity for you to take back ownership of your own financial destiny. How do you do that? You got to earn, you got to keep what you earn, and then you got to multiply what you keep. How do you multiply what you keep? Got to get down in the description box, open up a brokerage account, put some money in it, and start buying paper assets. And just do that every month, every year, until you reach your financial goal with assets. That's it, guys. No, it's not trigonometry. No, you don't have to be some savant. You don't need a 200 IQ. You don't need to have graduated from MIT or Harvard. Matter of fact, you don't even have to have graduated from high school. I worked with a lot of millionaires that didn't even graduate from high school in my banking days. Didn't even graduate from high school, but they're millionaires. Why? Why? Because they understand it had anything to do about that. What it had to do about was them coming up with an idea that could solve problems, That's what it was. They came up with ideas that solved problems for people. And they scaled their business and sold their businesses, and they're now millionaires, living the life they want to live. Well, Richard, I can't scale a business. You don't have to. Whatever income you got, you use the same thing. Take your income, live on less than what you make, take the difference, put it in paper assets, put it in real estate, put it in a business, do that long enough, you build wealth. That's it. Inflation is going to be inflation. I'm a big believer in we do whatever we need to do financial in this country to survive, period. So that means that the Federal Reserve need to pump trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars into our economy, pump it. If that means the Fed needs to take interest rates to zero so people can borrow money and make it, take it to zero. We'll pay for the financial consequences later. Guess what? We already paid for it, and guess what? We came out okay. 9.1% less than 2 years ago, already down to what? Basically 3%. So in 2 years, we cut inflation by 6%. We can do this. And a lot of people still got rich. Right? I built a lot of wealth from 2020 to right now. Through all of that, I still built wealth. Why? Because I took my income. I didn't do it to spend it to make other people wealthy. I took the income I was making in those 4 years, and guess what I did with it? I put it in assets. And I just kept doing that. And then guess what happened? As inflation starts to come down, those assets started to go up in value. That's all you got to do, guys. But you got to make a decision right now. You got to make a decision today, not next week, but today. If you're not happy with your financial situation, stop blaming Trump, stop blaming Biden, and just make it right today. Don't blame the United States. Don't blame this. Don't blame that. Just say, hey, things haven't worked out for me in the past, but I'm going to change that today. I'm going to take control of my own financial destiny. No presidential candidate, no Federal Reserve, none of those folks ain't going to control my financial, no employer. None of those people are going to control my financial destiny but me. My job is to get out and earn money and keep that money, not get it and go spend it on stuff to make other people wealthy. My job is to go out and earn, take what I earn, live on less than what I earn, take the difference, put it in an asset, month in, month out, year in, year out, till I get to my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That is the mandate. Plain and simple. Now, if you want to add all this other stuff to make excuses, that's on you. But this country, you can do exactly what I just told you and nobody won't get in your way. You can do exactly what I just said and nobody will get in your way. That's the great part about this country. Nobody gets in my way when I want to build wealth. No, we're not going to let your hand hit that button to buy a NVIDIA stock. No way, Richard. We're not doing it. We're not going to let you do it. Nobody does that here in this country. Nobody says, hey, Richard, you can't quit your six-figure banking job and start a YouTube channel from zero and build it to 700,000 subscribers and make millions of dollars. Nobody stopped me from doing that. Nobody said I couldn't do that. I just did it. Why can't we all do that? We can. But what happens is we put roadblocks in our own way. Oh, I don't know enough. Oh, I got this going on. Oh, No, don't put obstacles in your way. You're in control of your own financial destiny, but it starts with you guys. And I have to be honest with you. It starts with you. We live in the greatest country in the world. Is it perfect? No. But it's the greatest country in the world. I mean, come on. We got to just take advantage of that. How is it that people that ain't even from this country, ain't been in this country but a hot second, can come here and understand the opportunity and jump right on it without any excuses? But we've been here all our life. We born here, been here our whole life, and can't get out of our own way. But you can transport somebody here from somewhere else, and they can be in here for a hot minute, and they go chasing their dream and go get wealthy. I just don't understand that. We've been here our whole life. We just can't get out of our own way because all we want to do is sit here and blame somebody else. Other people come here from other parts of the world. They don't blame nobody. All they do is say, what? You mean to tell me I can start a business? Nobody stops me. Nobody gets in my way. All I got to do is just go out there and bust my butt, solve problems for people. And all of a sudden I'm going to get paid for that? And no one gets in my way? No one tries to stop me? You mean I can do that here? Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go do it. You mean to tell me I can get here, start washing dishes at a local eatery, start washing dishes, getting a decent little wage? You mean to tell me I can learn how to go from washing dishes to owning my own restaurant without anybody getting in my way? All I got to do is work hard, save my money, put it back into my business, and just keep my head down. Don't be making other people wealthy. Don't try to live on the hog and keep up with the Joneses. You mean to tell me I can come to this country and do that without anybody getting in my way? I can start from the bottom and work my way to the top without anybody getting in my way? Is it easy? No, but goodness gracious, ain't nobody stopping me. It's just me stopping me. Come on, man. People come here every single day, guys, and do this. But we live here. We're born here. And we, a lot of times, do not do it. We got to stop it. It starts today. I don't care who you vote for. That's your business. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't really care about that. What I care about is stop getting in your own way. Stop getting in your own way. Put yourself in a position today to go build wealth. Because you can. It starts with your income, though, guys. Building wealth starts with your income. You have to be better at what you do with your income. In this country, we have a problem with that. We want to keep up with the Joneses. We identify things over freedom. The more things we have, we believe that's where the success is, when it's totally the opposite. It's totally the opposite. In this country, we value things more than we value freedom. That's the difference between us and other people that come to this country. See, when other people come to this country from other countries, they value freedom over things. Because maybe in their country, they didn't have no freedom. They didn't have no freedom in their country. They couldn't just go do whatever they wanted to in their country. So when they get here and they see this freedom thing, they're like, shoot, man, I got to get this freedom thing. I couldn't have that in my country. That's what they do. Problem is with us here, we value things over freedom. Others come to this country and value freedom over things. Just my opinion, guys. You don't have to agree with it. Just my opinion. That's all it is. Just an opinion channel. But I've been around for 56 years. I was in the banking industry for 25 years. I've been an investor for 30 years. I've seen it all, guys. I've worked with all types of customers, foreign customers that come here, American who were born in America. I've worked with them all. And all of them have one thing in common. They're chasing freedom first, and then the things come last. Not the other way around. Well, let me get all these things first, and I'll think about freedom when I'm 60. Let me get all these things first. I want the things. I want the Hummer. I want the big house. I want the fast boat. I want all the partying. I want all the traveling. I want it right now. That's the difference between people who are wealthy and self-made. They chase freedom first because they know if they get the freedom, the things will come. They get the freedom first. Then they go get the things because the freedom pays for the things. That's the whole key, guys. Nothing wrong with wanting things, but get them later. Get the freedom first, and then the freedom will pay for your things. That's all you got to do. I got a lot of things, guys, but I got my freedom first. The things came from the freedom. The freedom pays for the things. See, I wasn't 26 years old sitting in a house like this. No, I was 26 years old looking to buy real estate for income so that later on I could have my dream house and not have to worry about how I'm going to pay for it. Not have to worry about the interest rate. We got to flip-flop that. We got to get freedom first, and then freedom will pay for everything that we want. That's the way we got to start doing this thing, guys. So today you can change it. You can change it. If you're interested in buying paper assets, stocks, ETFs, get down to the description box. Click on the Moomoo link. Open up the Moomoo account today. They're going to give you 5 free stocks if you put $100 in the account. They're going to give you 15 free stocks if you put $1,000 in your account. Now you're ready to do what? Go chase freedom. Get the things out of the way right now. Put that on the back burner. You're going to get the things later. Chase freedom now so that your freedom can pay for these things, but it starts today. So if you're somebody that's looking to increase your net worth and you don't know much about paper assets, you don't know much about individual stocks, you don't know much about ETFs, that's okay. I didn't either. At 26 years old, I didn't know anything about none of that. But I didn't let that stop me. I opened my brokerage account. I start putting $150 every 2 weeks in it. And I just started buying assets, little by little. As I continued to buy those assets, my confidence started to grow. Once my confidence started to grow, I started making more investment in assets. That's what happens, guys. When you start doing something and you become good at it, your confidence grows. But you got to start doing something before you get the confidence. If I'm sitting around and won't do nothing, of course I'm never going to have any confidence in building wealth because I ain't trying to do anything to build wealth. My recommendation is start with $100. Start with $1,000 and start getting your confidence up. Take that $100, take that $1,000, get down in the description box, open up that Moomoo brokerage account. Get those 5 free stocks. Get those 15 free stocks. Now you've started your mind shift. Now you've started reprogramming old way of thinking to a new way of thinking. The new way of thinking is you control your own financial destiny. The old way of thinking is, oh, my boss, this people over here control it because they pay me. That's the old way of thinking. The new way of thinking is, no. I control my financial destiny because I'm building wealth. And at some point, I'm going to build that wealth high enough where it will take care of me. Difference. Somebody else take care of me. They control my financial destiny. I take care of me through my assets. I control my financial destiny. That's the shift. But it starts with a decision that you got to make. And that decision is what? I want to take control of my own financial destiny today. I'm not going to make any more excuses. I'm not going to make excuses that I don't know enough. I'm not going to make enough excuses. Oh, golly, President Trump. Oh, President Joe Biden. They ran up inflation. They made it bad for me. I can't do anything because they done caused all these problems. No, those guys ain't caused no problems. They saved you. They saved our country. You should be thankful. I wouldn't want to be in their seat. I wouldn't have wanted to have to be in that pressure cooker, having to make those split decisions in the midst of a pandemic that could have took the whole world out. I wouldn't have wanted to be in those seats. But see, Monday morning quarterbacks, I would not want to be in any one of those gentlemen's positions during that pandemic. I wouldn't have. I thank God for them, that they did what they needed to do. I don't know if I could have did that. I just don't know. I'm glad they did what they did because I'm here today. We're here today. I'm able to live in a free country where I can get on my iPhone 13 Pro with my raggedy internet and all and let people know how I feel about this country. Is it perfect? No. Far from it. But I wouldn't want to live anywhere else in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm proud of our country. I'm proud of our country. Of course, like I said, not a perfect country. We got some bad history here. But guess what? I'm okay. With the grace of God, I'm okay. All I'm telling you guys, if you want to change something in your life, it's up to you. No one else. You. But you can do that today. You can make a decision today that you're going to control 100% of your time at some point in the future. You can make a decision today that you're going to control your own financial power at some point in the future. I'm going to make a decision today that I will at some point in the future control my own financial destiny. But it starts with assets. Let's not get it twisted. It starts with assets. Taking the money that you earn, living on less than what you earn, taking the difference and putting it in assets that grow over time and create wealth. All right? I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'm gonna get out of here. Last time though, guys, get down to the description box, click on the Moomoo link. If you want to get started building wealth and you need help, that's where I come in. That's where a guy like me comes in. I can help you, but you got to help yourself first. You have to help yourself first. I'm more than willing to help you, but you got to help yourself first. And how do you do that, Richard? Well, you get down in the description box, you click on that Moomoo link, you open up your Moomoo account, you put $100 in there, you put $1,000 in there, and then you send me an email and say, Richard, I need help. I want to control 100% of my time. I want to control my own financial destiny. I want my financial power back. I need help. But I've taken the first step. I've opened that Moomoo account. I put $100 in there. I've taken the first step. I've opened that Moomoo account. I put $1,000 in there. But now I need your help. You're going to email me through my website, www.richardfain.net. Second link down the description box. Just say, Richard, I've opened that account. I funded it, and I need some help. And I'm going to send you some tutorial videos from the good folks at Moomoo that are going to show you how to use that brokerage app. I'm going to send you my investment blueprints, 1.0, 2.0, telling you everything I'm buying. And all you got to do then is copy the plan. Don't be afraid. Don't make excuses. You don't have to be no expert. You don't got to know everything about the stock market. All you got to do is trust yourself and execute. Follow the plan. Follow the plan. That's all you got to do, guys. If you're willing to follow that plan, and again, not trying to be your financial advisor because I'm not. Not trying to be some expert because I'm not. What I'm trying to do is help you because somebody helped me. I'm trying to help you because somebody helped me. And that's what we do in this great country. We help each other. Well, at least that's what we should be doing. That's what we should be doing in this great country, is helping one another. Not hurting one another, but helping one another. That's why we're the #1 destination spot in the world, guys. For every disenfranchised person out there in the globe, They know they can come to America and be what they want to be. We are the greatest country on earth. And it's time we start acting like that. But not through force. We need to act like it through love and through helping people. All right? So appreciate y'all, man. Get down in the description box, click on that Moomoo link, open up that account today, go get that free stock, go get that free money. Do me a big favor, get over to the website, www.richardfain.net. Take advantage of those wonderful financial digital products. Get yourself to freedom, guys. Make a decision. Take control of your own financial destiny, right? And if you want to follow me on Instagram, hit that Richard Fain Millionaire Mentor link. Follow me on Instagram. Send me a DM when you get there. Let me know you're rocking with me so I can say thank you. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. You could have spent this hour and whatever anywhere else with anybody else, but you chose it to spend it with me. I'm privileged and I thank you. I thank you for all your support. Thoughts become things. See it in your mind. Hold it in your hands. You guys keep chasing your greatness. Never stop believing in yourself. Stay healthy. Get wealthy. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.